Drug money won't save you here, sweetheart. Officer Derek Matthews slams his fist against the Mercedes window, his face twisted with rage. The tinted glass reflects his red, sweating face as a calm, feminine voice responds. Officer, what is the legal basis for this stop? Matthews rips his weapon from its holster, pointing it downward but visible. Legal basis? Where'd you steal this fancy car from, some rich white family's driveway? He kicks the Mercedes tire, leaving a black scuff mark on the pristine chrome wheel. Out of the car now, or I'll smash this window myself. Veins bulge in his neck as he raises his baton toward the glass. Inside the vehicle, something metallic catches the morning light on the driver's shoulder. Something that glimmers like stars. Something Matthews cannot see clearly enough to recognize. Have you ever witnessed someone assume that success must be criminal simply because of the color of someone's skin? 6 hours earlier, the alarm clock reads 0530 hours at Fort Benning. Brigadier General Patricia Williams laces her running shoes with military precision, each movement deliberate and practiced. The Georgia morning air carries the scent of pine needles and fresh-cut grass as she begins her daily 5-mile run through the base. Her breath forms small clouds in the cool air as her feet pound the asphalt in perfect rhythm. 26 years of military service have carved discipline into every fiber of her being. 3 combat deployments, a Bronze Star gleaming in her trophy case back home. At 48, she commands respect not through intimidation, but through proven leadership under fire. The base comes alive around her as she runs. Young soldiers salute as she passes, their faces showing genuine admiration for the woman who broke barriers to become the first African-American female commander of the Regional National Guard Division. Williams returns each salute with a crisp nod, never breaking stride. Back in her quarters, Williams showers and dresses in her full military dress uniform. The deep blue fabric contrasts sharply against her dark skin. Silver stars catch the morning light on her shoulders, hard-earned symbols of authority that took decades to achieve. Rows of ribbons tell the story of her service. Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Combat Action Badge. Each one represents sacrifice, dedication, and excellence under pressure. Her Mercedes-Benz sits in the driveway, a personal reward for years of disciplined saving and military bonuses. The black paint gleams like obsidian in the morning sun. This car represents more than transportation. It's proof that hard work and dedication can lead to success, regardless of background or barriers. Today's mission is straightforward. Drive to Millbrook Heights Police Department for a crucial meeting with Chief Harrison about joint military-civilian training exercises. The route takes her directly through the wealthiest neighborhood in the county, where million-dollar homes line tree-lined streets like monuments to old money. Meanwhile, 15 miles away, Officer Derek Matthews adjusts his rearview mirror and checks his weapon for the 3rd time this morning. His patrol car reeks of stale coffee and bitter resentment. 15 years on the force, and he's still driving the same beat while watching lesser-qualified officers get promoted around him. Matthews' worldview is simple and toxic. Expensive possessions in the hands of people of color automatically indicate criminal activity. His mental database catalogs every luxury vehicle in Millbrook Heights by owner and presumed legitimacy. A black woman driving a Mercedes doesn't compute in his racist mathematics. The neighborhood Matthews patrols represents everything he believes he's protecting. Millbrook Heights, with its 94% white population and median income of $200,000. Manicured lawns stretch between houses that cost more than most people earn in a lifetime. Halloween decorations dot perfectly maintained yards, carved pumpkins and artificial spider webs hanging from oak trees older than the civil rights movement. This community prides itself on being crime-free, a designation Matthews helps maintain through aggressive enforcement targeting anyone who doesn't fit his narrow definition of belonging. His personnel file, if anyone bothered to read it carefully, contains 47 complaints of racial profiling. Each complaint mysteriously disappeared or was dismissed due to insufficient evidence. Matthews' radio crackles with routine traffic as he cruises his territory. His eyes constantly scan for what he calls anomalies, people of color in expensive cars, anyone who doesn't match his mental image of who belongs in this paradise of privilege. Today, like every day, he's hunting for someone to remind about their proper place in his version of social order. The morning sun climbs higher, casting long shadows across perfectly paved streets. Garden sprinklers whisper across emerald lawns while domestic workers, mostly Hispanic women, arrive for their daily cleaning duties. They drive older, modest vehicles and enter through back doors, invisible to residents who benefit from their labor. Williams's Mercedes approaches the main thoroughfare, maintaining exactly 25 miles per hour through the residential zone. Her military training extends to civilian driving, follow every rule, respect every law, give no one any excuse for confrontation. She's learned through painful experience that excellence must be twice as good to be considered half as adequate. The GPS on her dashboard shows 3 more miles to the police station. Williams reviews her briefing notes while stopped at a red light, preparing talking points about joint training exercises and community safety initiatives. She has no idea that behind her, Matthews has spotted her vehicle and is already constructing his justification for what he considers an obvious crime in progress. The stage is set for a collision between two worldviews, one built on merit and achievement, the other on prejudice and assumption. In minutes, these two lives will intersect in ways that will change both forever. The Mercedes glides through Millbrook Heights like a ghost ship navigating hostile waters. Williams maintains perfect speed control, her hands positioned at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel with military precision. Every turn signal activates exactly 100 feet before each corner. Every stop comes to a complete halt behind white painted lines. But perfection means nothing to Officer Derek Matthews. His patrol car lurks 3 blocks behind, close enough to track but far enough to avoid detection. Matthews' jaw clenches as he watches the luxury sedan navigate his territory. The morning sun reflects off the Mercedes' chrome trim, creating flashes of light that seem to mock him with their brilliance. "Dispatch, this is Unit 7, Matthews speaks into his radio, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. "I've got a suspicious vehicle proceeding eastbound on Magnolia Drive. High-end Mercedes. Driver doesn't match neighborhood demographics." The radio crackles back. "Unit 7, do you observe any traffic violations?" Matthews' face flushes red. "Negative on violations, but the vehicle fits the profile for recent luxury car thefts in the metro area. I'm going to investigate." It's a lie, and Matthews knows it. There have been no luxury car thefts reported in weeks, but his 15 years of experience have taught him exactly which phrases trigger automatic approval from dispatch. Suspicious vehicle and theft profile unlock the freedom to pursue his personal prejudices under the guise of professional duty. Williams checks her rearview mirror and notices the patrol car maintaining distance behind her. Military training has sharpened her situational awareness to razor precision. She recognizes surveillance when she sees it, but maintains course toward the police station. 3 more miles. She can handle whatever comes next. The Mercedes approaches a stop sign at the intersection of Magnolia Drive and Oak Street. Williams comes to a complete stop, counts to 3, checks both directions twice, then proceeds. Textbook driving that would earn praise in any driving instructor's manual. Matthews sees opportunity. His patrol car surges forward, emergency lights exploding to life in a symphony of red and blue strobes. The siren's wail pierces the suburban tranquility like a blade through silk. Neighbors peek through curtains and step onto manicured lawns drawn by the promise of drama in their usually quiet paradise. Williams immediately signals right and pulls over onto the grass shoulder, careful not to damage anyone's pristine landscaping. She turns off the engine, places both hands on the steering wheel where they're clearly visible, and takes a deep breath. 26 years of military service have taught her de-escalation techniques, but she's also learned the harsh reality that compliance doesn't guarantee safety for someone who looks like her. Matthews approaches the Mercedes like a predator stalking wounded prey. His hand rests on his weapon, fingers drumming against the grip with nervous energy. Each step carries the weight of 15 years of accumulated resentment toward people he believes don't deserve success. The tinted windows of the Mercedes prevent Matthews from seeing Williams clearly, but that doesn't matter. In his twisted worldview, the expensive car and the driver's race tell him everything he needs to know about what's happening here. "License and registration!" Matthews barks at the closed window, his voice carrying across the quiet neighborhood. "Get them out now!" Williams's voice comes through the glass, calm and measured. "Good morning, officer. I'm going to reach for my documents slowly. May I ask the reason for this stop? I was following all traffic laws." The professional tone ignites Matthew's rage like gasoline on fire. In his experience, guilty people either cower in fear or explode in anger. Calm professionalism suggests education, confidence, and worst of all, the belief that she has rights worth protecting. "Don't give me that lawyer talk," Matthews snarls, moving closer to the window. "I know exactly what this is. Expensive car, tinted windows, driving through neighborhoods where you don't belong. We've had reports of car thefts in this area." Another lie flows as easily as breathing. Matthews has perfected the art of post hoc justification, creating probable cause through creative interpretation of innocent behavior. Williams maintains her composure despite the obvious racial profiling. "Officer, this is my personal vehicle. I have all the proper documentation, and I'm happy to provide it. But I need to understand the legal basis for this stop." Her military bearing shows even through the closed window. Straight posture, controlled breathing, hands positioned non-threateningly. But Matthews interprets her calm demeanor as arrogance that needs immediate correction. "Step out of the vehicle," Matthews commands, his voice rising to a shout that echoes off nearby houses. "Right now! Don't make me tell you again!" The neighbors gathering on their lawns represent Matthews' natural constituency, affluent white homeowners who view him as their personal guardian against unwanted intrusion. Their presence emboldens him, making him feel justified in whatever actions follow. Mrs. Henderson from 1247. Oak Street clutches her pearls and whispers to her husband, "I knew something like this would happen. These people think they can just drive through here like they own the place." Mr. Johnson from across the street nods in agreement. "About time someone did something. Property values are everything in a neighborhood like this." Their casual racism provides the soundtrack to Matthew's power trip. He feeds off their approval like a vampire drawing sustenance from willing victims. Williams recognizes the dangerous dynamic developing around her. A hostile officer, supportive neighbors, and her own isolation create the perfect storm for escalation. But military training has taught her that strategic retreat sometimes requires apparent surrender. "Officer, I'm going to comply with your request," Williams says through the window. "I'm wearing my military dress uniform, and I need you to know that I'm reaching for the door handle now." The mention of military service should give Matthews pause, but his prejudice has blinded him to any information that contradicts his assumptions. In his mind, she's either lying about military service or stolen the uniform to add credibility to her criminal enterprise. "I don't care what costume you're wearing," Matthews shouts back. "Military, police, whatever. Stolen uniforms don't impress me. Get out of that stolen car before I drag you out." Williams takes one final deep breath and opens the Mercedes door. Her polished military boots touch the asphalt first, followed by the rest of her imposing frame wrapped in the deep blue dress uniform of a United States Army Brigadier General. The morning sun catches every piece of metal on her uniform, the silver stars on her shoulders indicating general rank, the ribbons across her chest telling the story of distinguished service, the combat badges that mark her as a warrior who has seen real battle. For exactly 3 seconds, Matthews freezes completely. His brain struggles to process the cognitive dissonance between his racial assumptions and the undeniable symbols of authority and achievement standing before him. The uniform is clearly authentic, too detailed, too perfect, too expensive to be a costume or counterfeit. But 3 seconds is all the time Matthew's prejudice needs to reassert control. His eyes dart to the Halloween decorations visible in nearby yards, carved pumpkins, fake spider webs, plastic skeletons. The proximity of the holiday provides his racism with the perfect excuse to maintain his worldview despite contradictory evidence. "Oh, this is rich!" Matthews recovers with a harsh laugh that carries across the neighborhood. "Halloween's coming up next week, right? Nice costume. You almost had me fooled there for a second." William stands at perfect military attention, her bearing radiating the quiet confidence of someone accustomed to command. But Matthews sees only what his prejudice allows him to see, an elaborate deception designed to evade justice. "Where'd you get that uniform?" Matthews circles her like a shark, sensing blood. "Party store? Online? Pretty detailed for a fake, I'll give you that. The stars almost look real from this distance." The neighbors murmur their approval of Matthews' detective work. To them, his explanation makes perfect sense. Everyone knows that people like her don't become generals in the real army. The costume theory allows them to maintain their prejudices while feeling clever about exposing an obvious fraud. Williams maintains her military bearing despite the degrading treatment. Every fiber of her being wants to respond with the authority her rank deserves, but years of experience have taught her that escalation with armed, hostile officers rarely ends well for people who look like her. "Officer Matthews," she reads his name tag with calm precision. "I am asking you to examine my military identification and contact Fort Benning to verify my identity before you make a mistake that will destroy your career." But Matthews has already made his decision. In his mind, she's not a decorated general deserving respect. She's a criminal in costume who needs to be taught a lesson about respecting authority and knowing her place. The confrontation has moved far beyond a simple traffic stop. This is now a collision between two incompatible worldviews, with Matthews' entire identity depending on proving that Williams's success must be fraudulent. The stage is set for escalation that will change both their lives forever. "Real heroes died wearing uniforms like that." Matthews' voice cracks with indignation as he points an accusatory finger at Williams's chest, full of ribbons. "And here you are playing soldier dress-up to get out of a ticket." His face has turned deep crimson, veins bulging in his neck like angry rivers threatening to burst their banks. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the cool morning air, and his hands shake with barely contained fury. Williams remains motionless at attention, her military bearing unshakable even in the face of this public humiliation. Her Bronze Star ribbon catches the morning light, a decoration earned under enemy fire in Afghanistan, now being dismissed as a Halloween prop by a small-town cop drunk on his own authority. "You think I'm stupid?" Matthews circles her slowly, his boots crunching on fallen autumn leaves. "I've seen every trick in the book. Fake IDs, stolen medals, costume uniforms. You people always think you're so clever." The gathered neighbors nod approvingly from their safe distance. Mrs. Henderson clutches her iPhone, recording what she believes is a criminal being exposed. Mr. Johnson calls out from across the street, "That's right, officer! Show these troublemakers they can't fool decent people!" Their casual endorsement of his behavior emboldens Matthews further. He feeds off their approval like an actor drawing energy from an appreciative audience. This isn't just law enforcement anymore. It's performance art for the privileged. "Where'd you steal this car?" Matthews slams his palm against the Mercedes hood, leaving a sweaty handprint on the pristine black paint. "Some rich family's driveway, a dealership parking lot. Bet you thought nobody would notice a thief in costume driving through the good part of town." Williams's military training has prepared her for many hostile environments, but nothing quite like this. Enemy soldiers in combat zones at least operated under recognizable rules of engagement. This psychological warfare attacks her dignity, her service, and her very right to exist in this space. "Officer Matthews," Williams speaks with measured authority, "I strongly advise you to contact Fort Benning and verify my identity before—" "Save the act," Matthews cuts her off with a dismissive wave. "I'm calling backup to deal with a hostile suspect impersonating federal personnel." "That's a felony, sweetheart. You just turned a simple traffic stop into federal prison time." He keys his radio with theatrical flourish. "Dispatch, Unit 7 requesting immediate backup. I have a suspect in military costume driving a stolen vehicle, possibly armed and dangerous. The subject is becoming increasingly agitated and non-compliant." Every word is a lie, but Matthews delivers each fabrication with the practiced confidence of someone who has perfected the art of creative report writing. His radio traffic will become an official record, transforming Williams from victim to perpetrator through the magic of selective documentation. Williams listens to him systematically destroy her reputation over the airwaves. In military courts, such false reporting would result in court-martial and prison time. But Matthews operates in a different justice system, one where his word carries the weight of institutional authority, regardless of truth. "You're making a serious mistake." Williams maintains her calm tone despite the mounting pressure. "I am Brigadier General Patricia Williams, United States Army. My aide-de-camp is Colonel James Mitchell at Fort Benning. One phone call will confirm everything." Matthews laughs so hard he doubles over, slapping his knee in exaggerated amusement. "Brigadier General? Oh, that's perfect. What's next? Gonna tell me you're the Secretary of Defense?" The neighbors join his laughter, their prejudices validated by his performance. To them, the idea of a black woman achieving general rank seems as fantastical as claiming to be Superman. Their worldview simply cannot accommodate such success. "Tell you what, General," Matthews makes air quotes around her rank, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Why don't you order me to let you go? Use that military authority you're pretending to have." Williams understands the trap. Any assertion of her actual authority will be twisted into evidence of aggressive behavior toward law enforcement. Her military bearing, meant to command respect, becomes proof of arrogance in Matthews' narrative. Two patrol cars arrive with sirens wailing, their emergency lights painting the suburban scene in alternating red and blue. Officers Johnson and Rodriguez emerge with hands on weapons, their faces tense with anticipation of confronting a dangerous criminal. "What's the situation?" Officer Rodriguez asks, his eyes locked on Williams as if she might explode into violence at any moment. "Stolen vehicle, impersonating military personnel, possible drugs." Matthews rattles off his fabricated charges. "She's got this elaborate costume trying to convince me she's some kind of general. Pretty good fake, but not good enough." Officer Johnson examines Williams' uniform with suspicious eyes. "Wow, that is detailed. Where do they even sell stuff this realistic?" "Internet, probably," Matthews answers. "You can buy anything online these days. Military surplus stores, Halloween specialty shops. She probably paid good money for this setup." Williams watches her credibility evaporate in real time. 3 armed officers now view her as a criminal, their hands positioned for quick weapon access. The mathematical reality becomes clear. Her word against theirs, her truth against their shared delusion. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to remove that uniform," Officer Rodriguez announces. "We need to determine what costume and what might be stolen military property." The demand hits Williams like a physical blow. Stripping her of the uniform would be the ultimate humiliation, reducing her from decorated general to nearly naked suspect in full view of the gathered neighbors. The psychological warfare has escalated to complete dehumanization. "I will not remove my uniform," Williams states firmly. "This is my dress blues, earned through 26 years of distinguished service to my country. I demand to speak with your supervisor immediately." Matthews steps closer, invading her personal space with practiced intimidation. "You don't get to make demands, lady. You're under arrest for multiple felonies. We can do this easy or hard, but that costume is coming off one way or another." The smell of his coffee breath mingles with cheap cologne and nervous sweat. Williams can see the pores on his flushed face, the broken blood vessels around his nose, the yellow stains on his teeth. This close, his hatred becomes almost tangible. "Sir, I need to search your vehicle for contraband," Officer Johnson announces, approaching the Mercedes with latex gloves already snapped over his hands. "We have probable cause based on the stolen vehicle report and drug indicators." "There is no stolen vehicle report," Williams responds evenly. "And there are no drug indicators. This is racial profiling, pure and simple." Her words hang in the air like an accusation none of them want to acknowledge. The phrase racial profiling creates uncomfortable silence among the officers, forcing them to confront the obvious truth of what's happening. But Matthews quickly fills the silence with renewed aggression. "Playing the race card won't save you now. We've got evidence of criminal behavior, and your little costume party is over." Officer Johnson begins searching the Mercedes interior, pulling out Williams's military briefcase and personal belongings. He holds up her Pentagon building access card and military challenge coin like evidence exhibits. "Look at this stuff," Johnson calls out. "She's got military IDs, base access cards, the whole 9 yards. This is serious federal crime territory." The irony would be laughable if it weren't so terrifying. Williams's legitimate credentials become proof of her criminal enterprise in their twisted logic. Success equals guilt. Achievement equals theft. Her very excellence becomes evidence against her. Matthews pulls out his handcuffs, metal gleaming in the morning sun like instruments of torture. "Turn around and put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for grand theft auto, impersonating federal personnel, and possession of stolen government property." Williams faces her moment of truth. Compliance means accepting false arrest and public humiliation. Resistance means providing them with justification for violence. Military training has taught her tactical thinking, but no strategy works when the system itself is corrupted. "Officer Matthews," She makes one final attempt at reason. My military identification is in my uniform pocket. Examine it carefully. Call the phone numbers. Verify my identity before you destroy both our careers. But Matthews has passed the point of no return. His entire identity depends on proving her guilt. Admitting error now would mean acknowledging his own racism and incompetence, psychological impossibilities for someone so invested in his own superiority. Last chance. Matthews advances with handcuffs ready. Turn around voluntarily, or we'll turn you around forcibly. The gathered neighbors watch with anticipation, their phones recording what they believe is justice being served. In their minds, this confrontation validates every prejudice, confirms every assumption, and justifies every fear about people who don't look like them succeeding beyond their designated place. Williams reaches slowly into her uniform pocket, her movements deliberate and non-threatening. Her fingers close around her military identification card. Not a plastic costume prop, but an official Department of Defense ID with holographic security features and classified clearance indicators. The moment of ultimate truth approaches. Will Matthews' prejudice prove stronger than documented reality? Can institutional racism survive direct confrontation with undeniable evidence? Williams prepares to find out. Williams extends her military identification card toward Matthews with the precision of a surgeon offering a scalpel. The morning sun catches the holographic security features embedded in the official Department of Defense document, creating rainbow patterns that dance across its surface. Matthews snatches the ID with contemptuous confidence, expecting to expose another piece of elaborate costume jewelry. But his smirk falters as his fingers register the card's weight and texture. This isn't plastic from a novelty store, it's the real thing, heavy with embedded electronics and security features impossible to counterfeit. Nice try with the fake, Matthews says, but his voice wavers slightly as he examines the sophisticated holographic seals. They're making these costume accessories really detailed these days. Officer Rodriguez steps closer, his curiosity piqued by Matthews' hesitation. Let me see that, he requests, extending his hand. As a military veteran himself, Rodriguez recognizes authentic government documentation when he sees it. His face changes the moment the ID touches his fingers. The magnetic strip, the classified clearance codes, the expiration date 3 years in the future, every detail screams authenticity. Rodriguez's eyes widened as he read the rank designation, BG Patricia Williams, U.S. Army. Matthews, Rodriguez's voice carries new uncertainty. This looks legitimate. The security features are too sophisticated to fake. But Matthews cannot afford doubt now. His entire worldview depends on Williams being a criminal. Admitting error would mean acknowledging that his racist assumptions led him to assault a federal officer, a career-ending, life-destroying mistake. Come on, Rodriguez, Matthews forces a laugh. You really think someone like her could be a general? Use your head, man, it's Halloween. She probably ordered this online for $200. Williams recognizes the critical moment. These officers stand at the crossroads between truth and comfortable delusion. She speaks with the quiet authority of someone accustomed to commanding respect from subordinates. Sergeant Rodriguez, I'm ordering you to contact Fort Benning immediately. Ask for Colonel James Mitchell, my aide-de-camp, at extension 4772. He will verify my identity, rank, and current mission status. The word ordering hits Rodriguez like lightning. In military culture, you don't give orders unless you have the authority to back them up. Her tone carries the unmistakable weight of command presence, something that cannot be faked or learned from costume shops. Rodriguez pulls out his phone with trembling fingers. What's the number again, ma'am? Fort Benning main switchboard, extension 4772, Williams repeats with military precision. Tell them you need immediate verification of Brigadier General Patricia Williams's identity and location. Matthews watches in growing panic as Rodriguez dials. Everything depends on this phone call. If Williams is who she claims to be, his career is over. Worse, he could face federal charges for assaulting a military officer. His pension, his freedom, his entire future hangs in the balance. The phone rings twice before a crisp voice answers. Colonel Mitchell speaking. Rodriguez puts the call on speaker, his hand shaking slightly. Colonel, this is Sergeant Rodriguez with Millbrook Heights Police Department. I need to verify the identity of someone claiming to be Brigadier General Patricia Williams. General Williams? The voice on the phone sharpens with concern. What's the nature of this verification request? Is the general in some kind of trouble? The gathered neighbors lean closer, their casual racism giving way to growing uncertainty. The voice on the phone sounds official, professional, concerned, not the reaction expected if this were an elaborate hoax. Sir, we have someone in military uniform claiming to be General Williams, Rodriguez explains carefully. She says she's en route to meet with our police chief about joint training exercises. That's correct, Colonel Mitchell confirms immediately. General Williams left Fort Benning at 0800 hours for a scheduled meeting with Chief Harrison. She's wearing dress blues as required for a ceremony later this afternoon. May I ask why you're questioning her identity? The silence that follows feels heavy enough to crush souls. Matthews stares at the phone like it's transformed into a venomous snake. Officer Johnson's hand slowly moves away from his weapon. The neighbors stop recording, sensing that their entertainment has become something darker. Colonel, Rodriguez continues, his voice barely above a whisper, can you describe General Williams for verification purposes? African-American female, 48 years old, approximately 5'6", wearing dress blue uniform with Brigadier General rank insignia. She commands the 48th Infantry Brigade Combat Team and is a Bronze Star recipient. Is there a problem, Sergeant? Matthew's face drains of all colors. The phone verification matches every detail he can see standing before him. The stars on Williams' shoulders aren't costume jewelry. They're the real symbols of federal military authority. The ribbons across her chest tell the story of genuine heroism, not Halloween dress-up. Williams watches the exact moment when reality crashes through Matthew's wall of prejudice. His eyes widen with the dawning recognition of his catastrophic error. His hand moves unconsciously to his badge as if feeling its weight for the last time. Sir, Rodriguez's voice cracks with stress. I believe we have a situation here that requires immediate supervisory attention. Colonel Mitchell's tone becomes sharp with command authority. Sergeant, what exactly is happening to General Williams? I want a detailed explanation right now. The power dynamic has completely reversed in the span of a single phone call. Williams is no longer a suspected criminal. She's a federal officer who has been illegally detained, publicly humiliated, and threatened with arrest by local law enforcement. Matthews realizes that every word he spoke, every action he took, has been recorded by multiple cameras. His racist tirade is now evidence in what will become a federal civil rights case. His attempts to strip her uniform will be viewed as assault on a military officer. The handcuffs in his hands feel like they weigh 1,000 pounds. Officer Johnson steps backward, creating distance between himself and the unfolding disaster. His involvement in the illegal search will require explanation to federal investigators who don't share local prejudices. Williams maintains her military bearing, but her eyes now carry the unmistakable authority of her rank. She's no longer a victim being processed. She's a general officer who has been gravely wronged by the very people sworn to protect and serve. The morning sun continues to shine on Millbrook Heights, but the shadows have shifted. What began as routine racial profiling has become a federal incident that will reach the highest levels of government. Matthews stares at Williams with the hollow expression of a man watching his life collapse in real time. Officer Matthews, step away from General Williams immediately. Sergeant Rodriguez's voice cuts through the morning air like a blade, his military training overriding departmental loyalty. His hand moves to his radio with practiced urgency. Matthews stands frozen, handcuffs dangling from his fingers like instruments of destruction. Sweat pours down his face in visible streams, his uniform shirt clinging to his back with panic-induced dampness. Rodriguez, you can't be serious. Matthews whispers. People like her don't become generals. Rodriguez activates his radio. Dispatch, Unit 12 needs immediate supervisory response. Federal incident requiring command presence. Colonel Mitchell's voice continues from the speakerphone. Sergeant Rodriguez, I want to speak directly with General Williams to confirm her safety. Williams steps forward with commanding presence. Colonel Mitchell, this is General Williams. I am unharmed but have been subjected to racial profiling, illegal detention, and threats by Officer Matthews. Her words transform the scene from local police matter to federal civil rights violation. Matthews realizes his racist tirade was recorded by his own body camera, evidence for federal prosecutors. "General, I'm contacting base security immediately," Colonel Mitchell responds. "This incident will be reported to the Pentagon within the hour." Officer Johnson, who searched Williams's car, backs away slowly. His hands shake as he realizes every piece of evidence he collected is legitimate military property he unlawfully seized. Police Chief Robert Harrison's patrol car arrives with flashing lights, followed by the mayor's sedan. Both emerge with expressions of barely controlled panic, understanding this incident could destroy careers and trigger federal oversight. "What is happening here?" Chief Harrison demands, strain evident in his voice. Rodriguez hands him Williams's military ID with trembling fingers. Chief Officer Matthews stopped and detained Brigadier General Patricia Williams on suspicion of driving a stolen vehicle. Chief Harrison's face goes white examining the ID. As a veteran officer, he recognizes federal identification and understands the legal implications. "Officer Matthews," Chief Harrison's voice carries deadly calm. "Remove your weapon and badge immediately. You are suspended pending investigation." Matthews' world collapses with metal hitting asphalt. His service weapon and badge, symbols of authority used to terrorize Williams, now lie in grass like discarded toys. 15 years of service ended in 15 minutes of racist stupidity. "General Williams," Chief Harrison approaches with cautious respect, "I offer sincere apologies for this inexcusable treatment. This does not represent our department's values." Williams shifts into a commanding presence that earned her stars. "Chief Harrison, this officer used racial slurs, threatened violence, conducted illegal searches, and attempted to strip my uniform publicly. This was criminal behavior, not training failure." Mayor Patricia Carter arrives, calculating political damage. A federal lawsuit during election year could end her career and bankrupt the city. "General Williams, on behalf of the city, I formally apologize and commit to full cooperation with any federal investigation," the mayor announces, knowing cameras record every word. Matthews watches his life implode from a distance. His pension is gone. His career finished. Federal charges loom like storm clouds. The neighbors who cheered his racist performance slip back into houses, suddenly aware their phones recorded them endorsing federal crimes. Property values and community reputation hang in balance as news vans arrive. Officer Rodriguez secures all body camera footage and civilian recordings as evidence. The FBI Civil Rights Division will treat this as priority given Williams's rank and clear racial bias documentation. Williams maintains military bearing while processing trauma of public humiliation. Her composure sends a clear message. She will not be intimidated or silenced. Justice is coming, swift and irreversible. 48 hours after the incident, FBI Special Agent Maria Santos arrives at the Millbrook Heights Police Department with a briefcase full of federal warrants. Her heels click against the polished floors like a countdown timer measuring Matthews' remaining freedom. The Civil Rights Division doesn't waste time on cases this clear-cut. Video evidence from multiple angles, audio recordings of racial slurs, and the victim's federal military status create a prosecutor's dream scenario. Matthews has handed them a textbook civil rights violation wrapped in a bow. "Derek Matthews, you are under arrest for violation of civil rights under color of law, assault on a federal officer, false imprisonment, and filing false police reports," Agent Santos announces as handcuffs click around Matthews' wrists. The same metal restraints he threatened to use on Williams now secure his own hands behind his back. Matthews' face crumbles as he's perp-walked through the same hallways where he once strutted with authority. His fellow officers avoid eye contact, unwilling to associate with someone who brought federal scrutiny to their department. The thin blue line has abandoned him completely. Federal Judge Patricia Carter presides over Matthews' arraignment via video link from her chambers. Her voice carries the weight of constitutional authority as she reads the charges. The defendant is accused of violating 18 U.S.C. Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, punishable by up to life imprisonment. Matthews' court-appointed attorney, overwhelmed by the evidence, enters a plea of not guilty despite knowing conviction is inevitable. The body camera footage, civilian recordings, and Williams' live stream create an unbreakable chain of evidence documenting every moment of criminal behavior. CNN breaks the story first. Racist cop arrests black general, claims uniform is Halloween costume. The headline spreads across social media like wildfire, generating millions of views and nationwide outrage. General Justice begins trending as Americans express fury at Matthews' behavior. The Washington Post assigns their best investigative team to examine Matthews' 15-year career. What they discover is a pattern of racial profiling so extensive it defies belief. 89 traffic stops of minorities versus 23 of white drivers in a community that's 94% white. Internal Affairs Detective Sarah Kim uncovers the cover-up that enabled Matthews' behavior. 3 different supervisors buried complaints, deleted body camera footage, and falsified reports to protect him. Email chains reveal explicit discussions about managing racial profiling accusations. "We can't let every complaint from these people destroy good officers," reads one email from Lieutenant Colonel James Burke. "Matthews keeps the undesirables out of our community." Burke, Sergeant Michael Torres, and Captain David Wilson face immediate termination and federal charges for conspiracy to violate civil rights. The rot in Millbrook Heights PD extends far beyond one racist officer. Congressman James Washington demands congressional hearings. When a decorated general can be humiliated for driving while black, every American's civil rights are under attack, he declares from the House floor. The Armed Services Committee announces a comprehensive review of military-civilian law enforcement interactions. Williams' attorney, civil rights legend Johnny Cochran, Jr., as former partner David Reynolds files a $20 million federal lawsuit against Matthews, the police department, and the city. The complaint reads like a textbook case of institutional racism backed by overwhelming evidence. This wasn't an isolated incident, Reynolds tells reporters gathered on the courthouse steps. This was the inevitable result of a department that systematically targeted people of color for 15 years with complete impunity. The trial became a national television event. Court TV provides gavel-to-gavel coverage as federal prosecutor Santos methodically destroys Matthews' defense. The Halloween costume excuse becomes a national punchline, making Matthews a symbol of racism's absurdity. Expert witness Dr. Angela Davis testifies about the psychological impact of racial profiling on high-achieving minorities. General Williams succeeded despite institutional barriers, only to be humiliated by the very system she served. This represents the continuation of historical patterns designed to remind Black Americans of their supposed place. Matthews' defense attorney attempts character witnesses, but former colleagues refuse to testify. His social media history reveals years of racist posts, including images of lynching accompanied by laughing emojis. The jury sees a man consumed by hatred, not someone who made an honest mistake. Military expert Colonel Robert Smith, Williams' former commander, provides devastating testimony about her character and achievements. General Williams represents the best of American military leadership. She commanded troops in combat zones with distinction. To see her treated like a criminal is an insult to every service member. The prosecution plays Matthews' radio communications in their entirety. His lies to dispatch, his fabricated probable cause, and his systematic construction of false charges demonstrate premeditation rather than split-second judgment error. Jury selection eliminated anyone sympathetic to Matthews' worldview. 12 citizens representing America's diversity hear evidence so overwhelming that deliberation becomes a formality. Guilty verdicts on all counts arrive after 90 minutes of discussion. Federal Judge Patricia Carter's sentencing hearing draws national attention. Victim impact statements from Williams and Matthews' previous targets create a powerful narrative of systemic abuse, finally meeting accountability. "Mr. Matthews, your actions represent everything wrong with American policing," Judge Carter declares. "You used your badge to terrorize citizens based on race, then attempted to humiliate a decorated general who risked her life defending the Constitution you swore to uphold." The gavel falls with finality. 14 years in federal prison, lifetime ban from law enforcement, forfeiture of pension benefits, and mandatory restitution to victims. Matthews collapses as bailiffs approach. Federal prison awaits, where his law enforcement background makes him a target for violence from inmates he once helped convict. Justice has a particular irony for corrupt cops. The Department of Justice announces a consent decree placing Millbrook Heights PD under federal oversight. Mandatory bias training, civilian review boards, and enhanced accountability measures become requirements for continued operation. Officer Rodriguez, who recognized Williams's legitimacy and intervened, receives promotion to sergeant, and becomes the poster child for professional law enforcement. His actions during the crisis earn respect and demonstrate that good cops can make a difference. Congress passes the General Williams Act requiring enhanced penalties for racially motivated police misconduct and federal oversight of departments with discrimination patterns. Williams testifies during the signing ceremony, her presence lending moral authority to legislative reform. The financial consequences destroy Matthews personally. Legal fees consume his savings, and victim compensation claims eliminate any remaining assets. His family faces social ostracism and financial ruin as consequences of his criminal choices. Millbrook Heights settles Williams' lawsuit for $18.5 million, the largest police misconduct settlement in state history. The money funds the Williams Foundation for Police Reform, ensuring her experience creates lasting change rather than just personal compensation. 3 supervisors who enabled Matthews receive federal sentences ranging from 6 to 10 years. Their careers, pensions, and reputations lie in ruins, proving that institutional racism carries consequences for everyone who participates. The case becomes required study material in police academies nationwide. Matthews' mugshot appears in textbooks alongside cautionary tales about how racism destroys lives, both victim and perpetrator. 18 months later, Major General Patricia Williams stands at the National Press Club podium, her promotion reflecting respect earned through grace under pressure. Behind her, a photograph shows the same Mercedes that triggered Matthews' racist assumptions, now displayed in the Smithsonian's African American History Museum. Morning light catches her new 2-star insignia, silver symbols no amount of prejudice could prevent. Her voice carries the quiet authority of someone who transformed personal trauma into national progress. That October morning exposed a truth many Americans prefer to ignore. Williams begins, "Success doesn't protect any of us from racism. The color of our skin remains the first thing some people see and the only thing they judge." The audience, senators, civil rights leaders, police chiefs, listens intently. Williams has become more than a victim who achieved justice. She's a symbol of dignified resistance and systemic change. The Williams Foundation for Police Reform has impacted over 200 departments nationwide. Bias training programs, civilian oversight boards, and enhanced accountability measures spread across America like ripples from a stone dropped in still water. Matthews serves his 14th month in federal prison, where his law enforcement background makes each day a survival struggle. Recent interviews reveal no genuine remorse, only conspiracy theories and bitter resentment toward the justice system he once represented. His family relocated twice to escape community shame. His children face questions about their father's crimes at school. His wife works 2 jobs paying legal debts while their home enters foreclosure. Racism's destruction extends beyond its primary target. Millbrook Heights underwent dramatic transformation. New leadership implemented community policing reforms, diversity initiatives, and economic development supporting minority-owned businesses. The neighborhood symbolizing exclusion now hosts annual diversity celebrations. Officer Rodriguez, promoted to lieutenant for his intervention, trains recruits using Williams' case as a cornerstone example. Recognition of authority and human dignity isn't optional, he tells each academy class. It's the foundation of legitimate policing. 3 universities established Williams Fellowship programs for minority students pursuing criminal justice careers. Her experience demonstrates that systemic change requires representatives within institutions, not just outside pressure. Congressional testimony leading to the General Williams Act has been viewed over 50 million times online. Her response about forgiveness, "I forgive the man but won't forget the system that enabled him," became a reform movement rallying cry. Police departments nationwide report increased sensitivity, training participation, and reduced complaint rates following the case. Good cops appreciate clearer standards, while bad actors recognize enhanced consequences. Williams's Mercedes sits behind protective glass in Washington, its condition preserved for future generations. A placard reads, "This vehicle's owner was stopped for driving too fancy while black," a reminder that character must overcome skin color. The exhibit draws thousands of monthly visitors sharing their own discrimination stories in the guest book. Williams's experience resonates because it represents countless untold encounters between prejudice and dignity. Share this story if you believe every American deserves respect, regardless of race, Williams concludes her press conference. Subscribe to channels amplifying voices demanding justice. Comment with your experiences. Silence enables oppression while truth creates change. Her challenge extends beyond passive observation. How can we better prepare communities to recognize and confront racism? What are you willing to do when witnessing injustice? The questions hang like moral imperatives demanding personal response. Williams learned that individual courage combined with institutional integrity can overcome hatred, but only when good people choose action over apathy. Use hashtags General Justice and Too Fancy for Racism to continue these conversations. Real change happens when we refuse silence about injustice, regardless of how uncomfortable truth feels. Williams closes with her signature words. I didn't serve 3 combat tours and earn these stars to be humiliated on American streets. But I did serve so stories like mine could be told, justice pursued, and future generations might face less prejudice. The applause is sustained and heartfelt, but Williams knows true victory isn't measured in standing ovations. It's counted in policies changed, minds opened, and young people inspired to build a more just society. The question haunting every American remains. If a decorated general can be humiliated for driving while black, what hope do ordinary citizens have? More importantly, what are you willing to do to change this reality?